I believe every single person that comes into your life is there to serve a purpose.
Correct.
It's either they're there to serve a purpose or you're there to serve a purpose in their life. Once someone has served their purpose, if you guys drift away, it was bound to happen. You ask yourself and you look back, but why did that friendship end? You should have all the answers.
Hello everybody and welcome to Switch On with myself, Kyle Clark, a show curated to be the most beautiful love letter to our generation. It's the guidance you never knew you needed from the people you wanted to hear it from the most. Do us a favor, leave a review, tell us what you think about the show and share the moments that inspire you. I would absolutely love to hear from you. And the Switch On legacy has definitely commenced and I'm so excited and so grateful that I get to bring you guys on this journey. On today's show, we sit down with beauty master, YouTuber, business owner, influencer, and in my opinion, probably one of the most sought of creators in South Africa today, Thandi Gama. She takes us through her relentless work ethic, how she's been able to build an incredible community called the TG Gang. Shout out to the TG Gang.
Yay.
On all social platforms. And how self-motivation and how her work ethic has had to make a massive role and play within her career and sort of develop the success that she is today. It's time to switch on. Thandi, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you.
I'm so excited to be here. I was like, I'm going to be on camera. I'm not in control. I just have to look pretty.
And I mean, it's incredible because
yeah.
you're a beauty master, so she always just looks amazing on camera originally.
I try.
My goodness, you've had an incredible career.
Thank you.
How long has it been in the making for you so far?
Okay, so close to 30. I think I started when I went back to varsity. So this is around about 2016 till now. So it's been over 5 years.
That's incredible. And take us a little bit back. I know you actually, for everyone that's watching, she released a YouTube video, I think about a week ago, where she really dives into her career, which was amazing to watch. Take us a little bit back to how you started and how you managed to because from my perspective, from a consumer, I've noticed that there was one moment in your life where you just dropped everything, washed your hands clean and went for it.
So I think it's like, I've always been the type of child who is never fully committed to one thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I went to varsity the first time, dropped out, started like working for a little bit, trying to find myself. And then I decided, you know what, I was going to go back to varsity. And this time I was studying strategic brand communications. And this is what made me fall in love with influencing and the whole world of marketing and, you know, content creation. So I think in my second year, I had already started creating content because people were like, you're amazing when it comes to makeup. Why don't you like teach people?
Yeah.
And the whole concept of like diving straight into like being with people, hands-on, sitting with them was just too much for me.
It was very daunting.
Yeah, because I'd always been a shy person. And I was like, you know what? I think if I put it online and they watch me and I'm not there and I don't know what they're saying in front of me, like, that is a better option for me. Yeah. So I started YouTube, you know? And it's so weird. I started on an iPhone 6.
For real, Thandi?
Yeah, like the lighting was bad. Everything was overexposed.
That's crazy.
The sound wasn't amazing. You know, I didn't know anything about creating videos, but you know, I just said I'm going to sit in front of a camera and I'm going to do this. I did that, and I think I filmed about four or five videos on that phone. And eventually I said, no, I can't do this on my phone. This doesn't look like everyone else online. Because I was watching beauty content creators. I'm like, this is not the same thing.
It's not the same WhatsApp group.
So yeah, I started doing my research and I was like, no, man, I really need to take this seriously. And that's when I started saving up for a camera.
Okay.
So when I saved up for a camera, brands started noticing me. I started getting work from when I was in school.
Wow.
Yeah, and obviously I graduated and had to commit to the whole thing of being an adult and getting a job, like a 9 to 5.
Because that's a massive transition.
You know, and paying the bills like everyone else. Yeah. So I did that. But 3 months into the job, I realized that it really wasn't my passion. Yes, I was creating strategies behind the scenes and watching other influencers create the content of a strategy that I had set up, you know? And I was like, but I want to be the influencer. I don't want to just create the strategy. I want to be in front of camera. Because sometimes I would look at a strategy and look at how they approached it, and I'd be like, I would have done it differently. I would have wanted this to happen. So I was like, I can't do this. I can't sit behind a desk and watch everyone else pursue my dream. So I was like, no, I have to decide now. And 3 months into my job, I decided I was not going to carry on. And I wrote my resignation letter 3 months into my job. I wrote it, but I wasn't going to leave my job then. I had to have a plan, and that's why I have that whole video on the steps that I took to actually leave my job. I knew that if I was going to leave my job, I had to have a great way of saying, if I'm going to do this, there's not going to be money coming in. I've left the house. My mom is not going to fork the bills for me anymore. I need to have a backup plan. What am I going to do? I've got dreams. Am I still going to be able to do this? And if I was going to do this, I needed to take it seriously. So I planned a whole step by step thing and said I needed this much money. I needed to do this. I needed to approach brands with strategies that I thought would work for them and tell them that what I would do. And that's how I went into it.
That's amazing. You're really inspiring. And for everyone watching, we're going to link that specific video in the description below. What I think that video, Thandi, for you was actually so important, because a lot of our generations, what they do is they up and leave with no backup plan.
No, yeah.
You know, they up and leave with absolutely no backup plan. What I want to know from you is, in the beginning, the way that you are describing it is that you didn't want to be the socialite that was in front of the camera, as in person. So in the beginning, you know, social media and YouTube or whatever was like an escape for you. It was an opportunity for you to put yourself out there, but you not having to be forefront, you know?
Yeah.
How did it feel for you in the moment that you wrote out this resignation, as an example, and you came to this decision? Like, do you remember that moment distinctively? Like, how did that feel for you?
I remember the feeling.
Yeah.
So because I wrote the resignation letter on my laptop, that was a work laptop.
Yeah.
So obviously any day the IT guy could say, I need that back. You know?
So you were sort of a bit scared and panicking.
And the worst part is I decided to write this letter at work.
Yeah.
And it was an open plan office. So the side I used to sit on is where traffic used to happen. So anyone could have had a peep and said, yo, this girl's planning her exit strategy right now. So I remember being very scared, because I was like, the reason why I had to write that letter is because I needed to fully commit to the decision. And I remember being very scared and looking at it, and I'm like, am I really going to do this? And the reason why I also wrote it is because I didn't want anything else to hold me back and make me stay. So every time I would think I'm backing out, I'd go read it again and say, this is why you need to leave. And I'd think about everything else I could accomplish if I actually just took the opportunity. And you know what's another thing? What's funny? I went and I read up, I was trying to find videos of people, content creators that have actually quit their jobs to pursue content creation. And nobody had a video online saying, I quit my job to be a full-time YouTuber. I'm like, guys, can you not actually motivate us and tell us how you did it? Because I need someone to tell me how they did it. And that's exactly why I made those 2 videos.
Did you believe that writing out that resignation was a constant promise to yourself? So, I mean, I know, when you write things down, it's almost like you are committing to yourself 24/7. So when you read that back and you felt that you were steering away from your initial decision, going back and reading that resignation letter for you, was that always like a place of home where you were just like, okay, this is actually where I'm meant to be?
Yep, it was a full-on commitment, because sometimes, because I was the only strategist at work, I worked long hours. So I'd work till midnight at times. So my whole week was me working. And then I had to ensure that on the weekends, I dedicated my time to making money, because my weekends is where I was making the money to save up for when I quit.
Yeah.
My job wasn't paying me enough to save up for when I actually quit.
Sure.
So I knew that if I was going to quit, I had to make all the money that I needed from my campaigns. So if I told myself today after work, I was filming a video for clients, and at 4:45, I told myself I'm tired, that little resignation letter was always sitting in the corner there in a place that I could always see. So no matter what was open, I could see that there's no way you're going home and sitting on the couch and complaining and saying you're tired. You're going to get home, you're going to shower, you're going to film that content and make sure you send it to client on time.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Thandi. This must have been a really big... Was this personal to you, writing this resignation letter? Did you tell anyone? Did you tell your sister or did you tell your family before the transition sort of happened? Did anyone know that this was your exit strategy?
So I spoke to my sister about me wanting to leave my job, but I had not told her I had written a resignation letter. So that was something for me. That was something that I needed to look back at and fully commit to my decision. I needed to always remind myself that you are really doing this. You can do it. Push myself. Every time I felt tired, I needed that little push. So that was more for me than it was for anyone else, because also me quitting my job, it wasn't for anyone else, it was for me. So that had to be my own personal element.
That's incredible. A lot of people make these transitions in their careers, and then what happens is down the line you find, if you have done something personal for yourself, like this resignation letter was really personal to you, you didn't really tell anyone, you basically told your sister. If you had actually opened those floodgates and spoken to a lot of people, I'm sure there would have been so many people that have tried to take you off this path and would have said, no, Thandi, this is actually not where you're supposed to be. When you made that decision and you finally flipped, did you find people calling you, and especially within your family and people that were close to you at that time, because I know relationships are all for a season, trying to steer you away from going in this direction?
No. I only told, when I finally got to that point, my sister knew. And then I had to tell my mom.
Okay.
And when I told my mom, so when I told my mom, I was really scared because I was worried she was going to be like, you quit school the first time. Now you said you're going back to school and you said you're going to go work and you haven't been there that long and you're saying you're going to do this. So funny enough, she was very supportive and she said, I've always known you to be that child.
Okay.
I've always seen this coming. So I was always ready that you'd end up going for something else. And if you truly believe that this is best for you, then totally go for it. And a lot of other people in the industry that were influencers.
That's a great
I know,
mom.
Right?
Wow.
I'm so lucky. And a lot of other influencers in the industry were like, wow, we're so happy for you because you already create amazing content and you are doing this without the time. Now imagine what you can do with the time. So it was amazing. I know that a lot of people from work didn't want me to leave because I was a great strategy.
Great asset, yes.
Yeah, I was great at what I did. So they tried as hard as they could to convince me, obviously offering me more money and all those things came up now that I was ready to leave, but I had already fully committed to going.
That's amazing. I mean, I always say I said it in the beginning and the intro of this episode, is that when you step into your purpose, the universe automatically works for you and not against you.
Yes.
It's almost like the floodgates start opening. So when you made that transition, did you find that? Did you find like you were like, wow, here's all these opportunities just like rushing to me? Like,
no.
You didn't?
No.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Okay.
No, guys. I'll be honest. So it was like, so I already had opportunities for December because sort of like campaigns come beforehand.
Yes.
Right? People will approach you like a month or 2 months prior. So that's why I knew I had to stop working in November so I could have December to create all my content.
Yeah.
And it's like after those campaigns, it was like God put me to a test. It's like, you really wanted this, let me test you now. And I told myself I'm giving myself 6 months. And if it doesn't work out in 6 months, I had to get a job.
Oh, wow.
Because I'd saved up for 8 months.
That's incredible.
So I was like, if I don't have a job in 6 months, if I don't have enough work in 6 months, I'm going to, from month 6, by month 8, I need to have a new job.
Okay.
So it was scary because now all of a sudden the work wasn't coming in. And it's because also a lot of these brands don't usually promote anything between January, February, March. So that was so stressful because that was also the same time we were applying for a house.
Wow.
And I was so scared. I was like, oh my God.
I'm buying a house. There's no
why
work
did I
coming
do this?
in.
Why did I do this? Why did I do this? And at that time, literally, I was losing so much weight. That's how much stress I had. But you know what I did? I just kept on praying, and things turned around after 3 months. Next thing, everyone knew that, okay, Thandi is available to work, and these campaigns started coming in. And also, like they say, God sometimes only helps those who help themselves. So I had to push, ask people, hi, what's going on? Are you guys doing anything? Or try pitch. I pitched to a couple of people and they never responded, but the point is I tried, okay? Yes. I tried. So I tried, but eventually, through prayer, God heard me and work just started coming in, and I was making 3 times my salary in a month. That's incredible. And I was happy.
That's incredible. And this is something that I actually want to tell a lot of aspiring content creators that follow Thandi, is that something that I've noticed about content creation is pitching and putting yourself going through the door and trying to open the door for yourself is so much more important than you sitting around on your couch watching Netflix and waiting for the brand to come to you. And a lot of creators also continuously ask me, like, how do you get all of this work? I'm like, I knock on their door. I give them a pitch. I give them a proposal. I show them what value I can give them. They can either say yes or no, but I did it, that has obviously been a huge part of your journey also. What advice do you have? And I know your video that you did on YouTube the other day gives a lot of advice. Like, give me a couple of tips. You obviously had one hell of a plan. So give me a couple of tips for people that are in the position right now. They don't like where they're at and they want to follow their dreams. They see themselves in other ways. So give me a couple of tips and advice pieces that were really golden to you.
Okay. So I always say, if you have a dream, we have 24 hours in a day.
Preach.
When you are employed, you're only dedicating like 9 hours to that job, right? What are you doing with the rest of that time? And is sleep that important? And how much sleep does a human need in a week to cope? So it's really about how bad do you want this thing? And in life, sometimes you have to give up certain things for a little while just to say, if I'm going to get to this point, then I need to forget about this for a while. When I knew I was going to quit my job and go into content creation full time, I lost friends because I was not willing to give up my weekends going out to spend money when money wasn't coming in.
Spending money that you didn't have to please people you didn't really like.
So it was like, I can't go out because I need to invest these weekends that I have now in order to ensure 2 years or 3 years from now, I can go on vacations. I can paint the house 3 times if I want till I'm happy with what I want. You have to take the time you have now and invest it in order to get what you want. Because if you have true friends, they will stay. And actually, if they're true friends, they'll be like, friend, can we help you so that we all actually get to have lunch after? Can we not film this at the actual lunch spot
let's
outside?
Compromise. Let's see how we can all work together.
What are you actually filming? How can we help you to make sure that you do this on time? So it's all about the type of people you have around you.
Okay. That's amazing. Out of watching you, like, it's just, I think you've transitioned a lot, and those friends that you've lost along the way, I've known you before. I think you even knew me. I've been watching you for the longest time, and I've actually seen you transition from where you were to who you are now. Really, like, letting go of those people in your life that weren't really serving you. Was that really difficult for you to move into your own journey now?
No, when we have people in our lives, I believe every single person that comes into your life is there to serve a purpose.
Correct.
It's either they're there to serve a purpose or you're there to serve a purpose in their life. And I think usually once someone has served their purpose, if you guys drift away, it was bound to happen. There's nothing you can do to change that. Because if there was, you would have done it. If there was something, if that person also wanted to try, they would have tried. If you're sitting in this moment and you ask yourself and you look back, but why did that friendship end? You should have all the answers. It shouldn't be like something where you question yourself and you think someone left you because of your work. No, it's because in a friendship, it's 2 people. We're both meant to try. And sometimes if certain things come first in your life and someone is not willing to understand, then I guess you need to let that drift away, because you can't have certain people like that slowing you down.
Yeah.
It's like friends should be friends where you can go 2 months without talking to them and they're there for you. You can go a week without talking to them. And when you say, hey friend, like there's no expectation or anything like that. It's just like, let's just pick off where we left off. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What motivates you, Thandi? Like, you're extremely motivated and you're always on. Like, you're always switched on. So what motivates you and how do you sustain that? Like, I see you work out a lot. You eat incredibly well. Yeah. And that's obviously because of Richard. But I mean, you know.
I don't eat that well. Because Richard doesn't eat well.
That's true. Oh my gosh. So what motivates you? Like, what do you do every day that is different to what you did before?
So I learned one thing. I think I learned from my first experience of wanting to quit my job and that drive of seeing something and seeing how if you push, you can literally get whatever you want. Yeah. So when I wake up, I'll tell myself, okay, fine. I finally have this. What's next? So when I wake up and I say we want to paint the house, it's like you'll get quotes, how much does it cost to paint the house? And you're like, where are we going to get the money?
The house looks amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
What a great color choice.
Thank you. So when you start having these small things that you want, you realize you need to work to have those things. And I don't think you get anywhere in life without having to work. You can't wake up every day and think, oh, that person drives an Audi. Wow, that's nice for them. Yep. You can drive an Audi. You literally just have to realize, if I'm making this much, how much more do I need to make in a month to be able to drive an Audi? Okay, what else can I add? Okay, what do I need to drop out of my every day? I'll be like, okay, we're dropping Netflix. That time that we're using to watch Netflix is time we can be using to make money for an Audi. So I think I always wake up every day wanting something new, like wanting a new experience. It's like now I'm like to my sister, we're like, I really want to go to the Maldives. And like we're like, okay, we need to save money to go to the Maldives.
Well, let's make a plan.
Let's make a plan. And then you start thinking, what's going on in my life that I can use as an opportunity and find a brand that suits that specific thing, pitch, get a campaign and work on it. Like, a brand doesn't need to always be working on a campaign for you to work with them. You can literally approach them and tell them something they didn't even know.
So true.
And they'll work with you. Yeah.
And do you feel like your education and being in varsity for all of that time and working in the corporate field really helps you pitch now? And helps you be very strategic? Like, you're able to look at a brand from a holistic point of view and be like, this is what you're not doing actually, and this is what you should be doing.
Yes, I definitely agree. Like, I feel like my experience at school and understanding, things like advertising, the costs and everything helped me. And also it helped me in a way that when I started out in the industry, I was making far more money than my peers who had more followers. Yeah. And that's because I knew my value. You need to understand what your value is and cost right. Because there's a saying, you don't have to work hard to make as much money. Someone can do 10 campaigns and I can do 2 campaigns and make as much money as them doing 10, but they're working harder. Yeah. So understand your value, understand how things work. And it's so much easier to approach a brand and tell them, because I know how to compile a strategy. Yeah. That's something I learned in school. That's something I was doing already for brands. And I went to meetings and I pitched a lot. So it's not something I'm scared of. So I feel like those experiences really helped. So when people ask, is it important to actually like have a degree? I always say, have it. It backs you up. When someone asks you, you can be like, did you not see my email said strategist? Yes. I know what I'm talking about.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I find that a lot, especially in the work that I do, is, and that's why I relate so much to you, and I really wanted to have you on the show, is because I see a lot of myself in you, like how you pitch and the way you know your worth. Like, that's exactly the same thing with me. Like, I know exactly how much my worth is and what my content is worth. And I'm continuously, and I know you do this also because I've watched you for years, you are always leveling up. You're always finding ways to upgrade your content 24/7. Like, I know where you started as your iPhone 6. Yeah. And now where you are, the brands that you're working with, and the level of your YouTube videos is so different. Do you ever watch yourself back to your old YouTube videos and like, what am I doing?
I do. I think the other day I bumped into one of my first few videos on my phone. That's why I know how bad the lighting and the sound was. And I'm just like, wow, we've come a long way. And, like I say, you don't stop learning. Like,
You
you know,
really
I've had
don't.
different lights, I've changed lights, I've had different mics, I've changed them. I've, like, sometimes I know, okay, for this content, I'll work with this camera. And I've even gone to a point whereby, based on your budget, this is the camera I'm using.
Yeah.
This is the quality you're gonna get. Because, you know, I understand my worth, and I feel like I can't give every brand the same thing if they're not willing to pay me as much as the other brand. So it's like, you get what you pay for.
Wow. How do a lot of people out there, and I'm going to go completely off the wire here, and I do this a lot of people out there don't really know how to establish their own worth and how much they think they are. I mean, how was the process for you? I think, is it because of your education and where you come from that you were able to establish what your content was worth? You know, how did you establish your self-worth from the beginning?
I think one of the most, I think sometimes I always say I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I think the first few opportunities I had, I got brands that came to me and offered me a certain amount of money. And that's not even how much I was going to quote them. And I was like, okay, so I would have missed the mark, but I wasn't too far off.
Okay.
But from there on, I feel like I got to learn and see. And if you have good friends that are in the industry, we do discuss like things like salaries, like, okay, the costing of this and whatever, like just trying to make sure that we're on the same line so that brands don't take advantage of us at the same time as well. So I think that made it easy for me a little bit. And also just having my educational background that helped me realize, okay, if brands are actually paying this much for TV ads and I'm just an individual with this many followers, surely this amount is nothing to them. I have sat down with a client and talking to them about budget, and I know it's never, when someone says there's no budget, it's not really the client, it's just the agency trying to pocket the rest of the money that's been dedicated. So I don't play around, and I'm always like, guys, come on, I know these things and I know how it works.
Yes,
you are talking on behalf of the client, and I'm sure you can release a little bit more funds to make sure we're both happy, because if client wants this quality, they have to pay this much.
True story.
Yeah.
Take us back to, I want to know, what do your rough and dark days look like? Because you're always switched on. So what do your dark days look like, and what do you do to sustain that emotional space that you're in?
Okay, so a lot of people don't understand this. Like, when you're an influencer, a lot of people,
you don't have a choice to have a dark day, actually.
It's almost like people don't want you to have a dark day. They don't want you to have a choice. But also, when you're in a space like YouTube, you get a lot of hurtful comments. And I think one of the things about me being an influencer is that one of my focus points was trying to cover up marks because of people with acne.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't understand acne. They think, oh, you don't bath, you're not clean, you're not taking care of your skin. So the amount of comments I would get on YouTube are distasteful. Like, we're literally having a discussion on Twitter with one of the comments that I just got a few days ago.
Wow.
And it was horrible. And stuff like that has led me to have anxiety. And usually what happens is that I'll probably take 2-3 days doing nothing, not being able to create, because people still forget that behind the content creator is an actual human.
It's a person.
As a person. So my dark days are literally, it's always like, I can't get myself to work. I can't get myself to do this. And I'm just like, I'm doing this for you.
Yeah.
I'm creating content for you because me and you both know we're tired of ads. We want someone we can relate to who really has taken time to look into the product and see if it really works.
Yeah.
So yeah, dark days look like that. Good days is just me up and down everywhere.
Moving.
And people ask, how are you at the gym and you filmed 3 videos and you did this? I'm just like, I'm on a roll.
That's amazing. I mean, as I said to you, I've been following you for the longest time, and I've seen you really transition. And, you know, dealing with cyberbullying must be really intense for you. And that's why I asked you, you know, what does your dark days look like? Because I've seen the comments and I've seen it myself. Like, I've seen what people have had to say about you, and I always think to myself, like, my goodness, like, how does she deal with this? You know, it must be really, rough and really tough to continuously have to read that. Do you reply ever?
I think I've replied to a few.
Yeah, you reply in a lot of kindness. That's what I've seen.
Yes.
And you kill a lot of people with kindness, which is so beautiful.
Yes, I do reply in such a nice way. My friend is always like, hey, I wouldn't have said it that way. Friend, this is what you should have said. And I'm like,
take her through the mud.
You know, so that's how I deal with it. And I think the one thing is that I have family that knows I always go through these moments, and they're very supportive. Like my mom and sister are very supportive. I remember the one time, literally, like this got me crying. I was crying like a baby. Like I couldn't even believe that I was crying like a baby because a few people just said something online.
Yeah.
And thank goodness in that moment my mom and sister were there. And you know, even like my boyfriend, like yesterday, gave me a hug. He's like, I saw that you were being cyberbullied again. He's like, just always know I'm here to protect you.
Wow.
If anyone ever says anything, I'm here to protect you. And whatever they say about you, that's not how I see you. So I think it's just great having people around. It's hard to deal with, but when you have the right friends, family, or your partner, it just makes it a little bit easier.
That's incredible. Take us back to Thandi. Take us back to a moment where you can look back on and you can connect the dots, but in that moment, it was just like, what the hell is going on? Like one of your biggest challenges in your life. You look back now and you can see how it all transpired to work out, but in that moment, you were just like, what the hell is going on?
I think it has to be the time where I was trying to quit my job. Like things just weren't making sense. That
first
period.
6 months, yes.
That period, I just don't ever forget it. Like. Yeah. And you know, sometimes when they say you need to go through something in life to actually realize you need to be grateful for every campaign that comes in, because there was a time where you weren't getting campaigns. Yes. And you need to be grateful for the money that you made before, because you managed to pay the bills on time and you never went to bed hungry. Like things didn't make sense then. Like, you know, the late nights and like, you know, I didn't even know. I'm like, I'm really doing this, but I don't know if it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Then when I look at everything coming together, I just didn't realize how everything was working for this one big moment where I'd be able to register a company and, you know, be able to start paying myself a salary with my own company.
Incredible.
And, you know, it's just, I don't know how it worked out for me, but,
but
and it did.
It did.
But actually, let me not lie. I know it was all God.
That's
it was
incredible.
God. I own everything I have to Him. So, yeah.
Incredible, Thandi. Who were you then and who are you now? This is always such a beautiful question for me, because if I look back in my own life, I was someone so different 5 years ago to who I am now. So who were you then and who are you now?
So I think, you know, I always say I have a piece of content that answers this video. So I have a video that says...
We'll link it down below.
That says my life before 50K followers, obviously. Yes. And I always used to say I was just a person wondering, like trying to figure myself out. And now, after I fully discovered myself, I am Thandi Gama. You know, Thandi Gama. Everyone says Thandi Gama, Thandi Gama. My full name is Thandi Gama, but I was destined to be Thandi Gama, the brand that you all know, that you love, and you see on social media. So I was just always this person, just roaming this planet, and now I know who I am.
That's beautiful.
Thank
Honestly,
you.
It's so amazing to hear your story, and it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show, man. Like, it really, really is. I will say this forever and always. You guys have probably heard me on this podcast say this a million times, but I've truly watched Thandi transition, and I think that it's just been an incredible journey from a consumer point of view. I'm definitely a TG Gang member. Love your content. Stand you hard always.
Thank you.
And just watching you from where you were up until who you are now, like your energy is so vibrant. You're always switched on, and sometimes it takes a lot out of you. And I've seen that also, you know, and you've been vulnerable, you've been fragile, you've been willing to share those moments with your followers. And we've never, ever gotten a fake side of Thandi, that's for sure. She's always been vulnerable, she's always been fragile, and she's always been willing to share the moments that really take her down, and then the moments that really inspire her. So thank you so much for sharing your journey with everyone. It's been a pleasure to watch, and I cannot wait to see where you go in the next 10 years.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited, and I can't wait for you guys to see. I have a few exciting projects coming up before the end of the year. So then you'll be like, oh, this girl
We
is
thought she leveled up, and now she's serving us real tea.
I know a lot of people were like, you've been off YouTube, you've been off social media. What are you doing? Like, what's going? Hey,
just wait and see.
It's coming. It's coming.
Tell us something that your followers don't know about you.
Something that my follow. Wow, I was like, I'm like thinking, what is something?
What do they not know?
I tell everyone everything.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything that my followers don't know about me, because at first, in the beginning, people didn't know how much of a tech geek I was. Like, I loved like everything behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always that friend that's always ready to help someone set up their lighting or like when they're struggling. Like,
amazing.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
And one thing they didn't know about me is that before I decided I wanted to go into beauty, I always wanted to go into reviewing like gear and all of that stuff.
Oh wow! So you're a natural tech geek.
Yeah, but it's just that, that side of life.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, your content and your nerdy side sort of just like came together.
Yeah.
And it made the beautiful content that you guys watch all day, every single day.
Yeah. So before going into beauty, I was considering like reviewing like other things and not doing makeup.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, so
I've never heard you say that before.
Thank goodness we went into beauty, because look at this.
Thandi, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been absolutely incredible to have you. I'm so grateful to have you sitting alongside us, and you're just sharing your journey and being very vulnerable. It's been really amazing to have you.
Thank you so much.
You can follow Thandi's journey on all her social media platforms. We're definitely going to link everything from YouTube to Instagram to Twitter all down in the description below. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors, Vodcast TV, Neon Feed, Clark Media, the show, the entire team that entirely puts this together. It's been amazing, and I hope you guys are really enjoying the season so far. Don't forget, you can stream all the episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, and use the hashtag SwitchOn. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Share the moments that inspire you. That's the biggest thing. And as I said from season 1, I really hope that the show inspires you to be better, love harder, trust easier, and forgive as much as you can, because that's the most beautiful thing about life. Thank you all for listening and watching. Thandi,
thank
so
you.
good to have you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being on the show. I can't believe it's over.
No, I'm sorry.